Hey guys, Hector Castillo Poppy from girlschase.com. Today we're going to have a co-op joint video. I'm going to be working with Alex from Playing with Fire. He has his own channel that is dedicated to mostly texting and making guys texting better to actually get responses, get investment from girls, and then eventually get dates and get laid. So what we're going to do is we're going to do how I normally like to analyze texts and give text advice using real life examples from clients and viewers of our channel. And so I gave him a set of screenshots from some guys who sent me over Instagram, and then he traded me some text that he got from some of his guys, and we're gonna take turns analyzing these text batches. So I'm gonna pass it over to Alex, and he's gonna do his analysis, and then afterwards I'll do mine, and that'll be the video. Okay, to you, Alex.
Thank you for that introduction, Hector. So as he previously mentioned, my name is Alex from Playing with Fire, and our channel specializes in helping guys really maximize their texting skills. And we're gonna take a look at a very interesting interaction. This was a cold Instagram DM. So this guy slid into this chick's DMs, and he started off doing actually pretty good, and then the interaction went downhill. So we're gonna analyze so you guys can learn from his mistakes. So the opener here is actually pretty interesting. He says, "Damn, you're enlightened as fuck, lol. I know how I stumbled onto your profile, but you seem interesting." That's actually not a bad opener as far as Instagram game goes. He's not overly boring, like, "Hey, what's up?" or "Hi," or "Hey, how are you?" which is one mistake guys make. But he's not also overly sexual, like, "Oh my God, I love it when you post ass pics. It's so sexy." You know, he doesn't go the pervy route. He's not like overly fawning over her, like, "Oh, you're so gorgeous. Like, I'd love to take you on a date." He just says, "Oh, you seem interesting." So that's actually a pretty decent opener. The one thing is, I don't like to use like too much slang. I just feel like that gives you a little bit of an uneducated vibe. So I actually recommend spelling things out. You know, you're not like a fucking 15-year-old MySpace girl, right? You're a grown-ass man, so you should be able to spell shit. She says, "Aw, thanks, I tried." She says, "You welcome." Her name, okay, gotta ask, is the Mraz in your name a Flatbush Zombies reference? So it's actually also good. So he's asking, you know, questions, he's building some intrigue, and you can see by her response that this was a pretty good message. Lol, that's funny you say that, because I had a phase last year where Flatbush was the only thing I listened to, but Mraz is actually part of my last name, blah, blah, blah. So locally, I think that song was made for me and the song. And she sends him really a long-ass message. So this is really good. If you can get a girl to invest that much off the second message, that's a really good sign. And one thing we talk about Playing with Fire is one of the best indicators of telling how well the interaction is doing, how much the girl likes you, and how serious she is about meeting up is her investment level. You want investment. That's, you know, it doesn't really matter if the girl is, for example, giving you compliments, not giving you compliments. What you want to look for is a general investment. Like if she's writing you paragraphs, that's a very, very good sign. That's probably the most important indicator. He says, "You have a good taste, Flatbush. A lot of remote guy in the washing machine. When really you're stoned ass, put it in there. I can relate. I smoke a ton of weed. I have bad short-term memory because of it. I once lost the remote in Rogers' boss in my room for like 6 months, so I just took my roommates." So there's some basic banter going on here. That's fine. I would not say something like, "I smoke a ton of weed and have bad short-term memory because of it." Like that's just like a negative about yourself. That's like, you know, you might as well just say, "Yeah, I have a small penis and I can never make a girl orgasm because of it." Like, why, you know, why would you say that? Now, if a girl does smoke a lot of weed, she might relate to that and she won't give a shit. But I would say like 80% of girls are not going to fall into the, you know, super stoner category, right? I mean, most people are cool with weed nowadays, but you know, most people probably don't really like a guy who has no short-term memory. So that's just like kind of a general negative that you just don't want to, you know, tell her about. She says, "Thank you. I only listen to a handful of their songs now, but I always appreciate their originality. Haha, savage move. I don't smoke weed anymore, but I did enjoy the 2 years when I did it all day, every day, lol." So he got lucky because she kind of can relate to him. She says, "Yeah, their old music was the best. Wow, you quit weed. That sounds tragic. I'll smoke some extra for you." So you have to understand, like if she says she quit weed and you're talking about how you smoke, you know, a lot of weed, there's gonna be a little bit of that kind of incongruence there, right? So that's just a small thing to keep in mind. I have to agree with you there. To be honest, they really set the bar high, and honestly, it's just a lot more better. I just had to a lot of time to reflect and focus on myself. I could see firsthand negative effects of smoking weed. I don't want to continue self-sabotaging. So use the positive effects of weed to introspect and took the knowledge to better yourself. You're not just cute, you're also pretty smart. That's actually a pretty good text. because he's basically giving her a compliment. He's showing intent, like you're cute, which is something you want to do, but he's not doing it in a very like, you're so sexy type of way. Like he just says, you're hot, and then she's like, thanks, right? He's kind of doing it in a little bit of a roundabout way, which is probably the way that I would go about as well. She says, these realizations actually happened after a magic shroom trip. Every time we would smoke, I would weed after that trip, which happened right before COVID, shut everything. It felt like I was re-experiencing my trip. I had access to thoughts, blah, 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 blah. He responds with, that's wild, but seems consistent with what I've heard. I used to sell a lot of drugs when I went to his school, including shrooms. But despite that, I only really ever smoked weed, so I can only imagine. It's so interesting how different experiences unlock parts of our brain that we never knew existed again. So he's basically DLVing himself, which is displaying lower value. Like you don't want to sell, you used to say, sell a lot of drugs. Like, yeah, to like 18-year-old club party girls, that might be a high value thing. But to most chicks, that's gonna be like shady. Like, again, you don't wanna mention things that are negative in any way. I used to sell out drugs. No. Keep that to yourself, or at least save that, until after a few dates. She replies with, yeah, I don't think I'd ever take a psychedelic again because of how wildly exhausting my last experience was, but I'm thankful for what it gave me. Would you ever try psychedelic? And right, it really is quite interesting. Psych is quite amazing. He says, yeah, it may have taken you decades to understand yourself the way you do now without that trip, or maybe you would have never learned. I'm not sure, lol. Probably not, but it's hard to say. I never will. Psych is amazing. I think that most people take psych, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so at this point, he has already established a lot of rapport, a lot of back and forth. Now, here's where I would try to move things forward and add more fun and flirtiness to the vibe. Would you ever try a psychedelic? I would probably say something like, only if you were there to hold my hand and tell me it was gonna be okay, right? Something simple like that, that adds a little bit of the we frame to the vibe. It's a little more flirty, again, you don't wanna just continue going down the same path of having like this intellectual drug discussion, right? Because that's just gonna, basically lead to nowhere, right? So you have to at some point move things forward. And this is the time where I would have moved it forward. Just very true, it made me see things I've noticed or acknowledged before, and it really is. I was originally taking health science. Again, long message, I felt like my name called, but I definitely understand myself a world a lot better. I learn new things every day, make new connections every day, blah, blah. He says, me too, I was originally taking sociology and started hating, so I switched to psych, for sure. As you become more self-aware, like a constant process of self-improvement through learning, it's pretty cool. So again, now I feel like he's just continuing too far on this path of just talking about, random subjects. Like, there's no we frame. He's not making it personal. He's not making it, relevant to, them. It's just kind of like an abstract discussion of a topic, which is something I would do with my friends, but probably wouldn't do with a girl I'm trying to bang. So here again, she's investing a lot. I would again try to move things forward in some way. She says, literally, yeah, and I like social psychology and psych. Besides like sociology, that's pretty cool. You took psych too, you went to blah. She says, social psych is really compelling. Psych being when individually I felt like sociology had archetypes they want to put people in. I majored at blah, and I felt if I'm taking a break until next year. So here I would have just said, yep, period. Did you as well? Or question mark like that, or where did you go, right? So at this point, I would drop the whole psych discussion and make it a little bit more personal. She says 100%, that's why I like psych personally too, and that's pretty cool. What was your favorite course and prof at blank? Oh, financial planning is at a bachelor's. My favorite psych course was Abnormal Psychology with John Stevens. The that course is the most interesting, sounds like Steve Jobs, interesting part of psychology to me, and he was amazing, cool prof. It was graduate, which will qualify me to be a certified financial planner. She says, okay, I took Abnormal Psychology last year with blank. It wasn't very keen on her teaching style. I definitely agreed the course was very interesting. So again, it sounds like they went to the same university. So here I would have kind of bonded over that. Been like, how did we go to the same university and never run into each other? Something like that. She'd be like, haha, I don't know. I've been like, well, I guess it's better that we meet now rather than never. Like, late is better than never. So I would have moved in that direction rather than just, again, having this abstract discussion. So here she keeps going, talking about, the class. She says, okay, I will keep an eye out for class with him. Oh, damn, serious life updates. But honestly, it's your true calling that I'm honestly really happy for you that you were able to switch up and follow with what you actually want to do. Definitely, I like helping people, but I'm competitive and psych-related jobs don't allow me that exercise and impulse. I've only been investing for a few years, but I'm on track for early retirement. Dude, no one gives a shit. Are you staying in blank right now, right? Like, if you're trying to bang a chick, you don't want to talk about early retirement. Like, no one really cares about that. That's not like, gonna make her, let's say, wet downstairs. So she says that makes sense, good for you. If you find pleasure in that, then go for it. I don't see any reason why if you thrive. Unfortunately, no, I'm in Toronto right now. So if you find pleasure in that, then go for it. I would have just said, that's what she said. But anyway, she says, yeah, I'm really happy about it. Lol, you're in the city with the highest population in the country during the epidemic. Yeah, again, you don't want to bring up negative topics like the pandemic. I'll literally never bring it up unless the girl brings it up. So there's just no point of that. She says wherever she is right now, I would have just said, oh, cool, you ever visit my city? And then, try to move that to set up a date. Again, you got to move things forward. If you just keep going on the same track, the conversation is eventually going to stall out, which is what you're going to see happen here. She says, that's really nice, basically pursuing your destiny. And now they're talking about numbers. Quebec has higher numbers. I'm pretty sure in Ontario, who gives a shit, who gives a shit, who gives a shit. Pretty sure one too many people. I know it's amazing that you sound peerless. You should come back to blank with me and minis and have a drink. Yeah, she says, oh, I missed the blank. She says, I would if I, one, had my full license, and two, if I still had a place up there. So this is the time. I mean, I would have gone for a more eloquent soft close, like try to really say like, we should get together sometime soon. Then she says, yeah, then I would get into logistics. But really here, like, it's time to get into the logistics. It's time to drop, this abstract conversation. She says, me and the Memedies miss you too, lol. Damn, that sucks. How are you handling living with your parents again? Again, who gives a shit? Like, at some point, you have to drop, the abstract convo and actually move things forward. She says, haha, the feeling's mutual. So here they're just going back and forth again, about living with their parents, planning on moving back soon, about moving out again. No one gives a shit. No one else gives a shit. You must have a saint, have the owl. It seems like such a way to end university. I guess it wasn't meant to be if you move as soon as I start talking to you. So actually, that's the opposite frame of what you want to have. So he's making it seem like, oh, I guess fate is against us. What you want to do is the opposite of that and make it seem like fate is working for you. So I would have said, I guess it's meant to be since we meet right after college, right? So you want to do the opposite of what he's doing here. Says, oh, I wouldn't say that. I'm a saint. I'm right, very sad. I mean, we're living COVID times. Everything's mixed up. That's good. I hate conflict. It seems like tons of people secretly enjoy it. So true, I have a feeling this winter will be fucked up. I hate the darkness. Again, like, avoid the negative topics. I have a feeling this winter is going to be fucked up. Like, okay, even if that's the case, like, you want to be like, true, we should make it better though. Like, you want to move things in a positive direction. She says, I hate winter. So he says, saying, I had to stop talking to so many people because of it. People really say they like winter because they get to wear comfy sweaters. Meanwhile, it's a nightmare set in apocalypse. Again, like, so you can see like the banter they had going at first was pretty good, but now it's just getting so fucking old. True, a healthy environment equals a healthy mind. That's probably the only positive, to be honest. That's cold weather and the darkness. And again, more talk about the darkness, even though our logistics suck. I like the fact that you're perceptive and actually capable of having intellectual discourse. Even though our logistics suck right now, you should give me your number so we can hang out sometime. Yeah, I mean, that's not the way I would go for the number close. I would have said, you seem cool, shoot me your number, we'll chat some more. I would go about the number close in a more kind of confident, assertive way. Definitely agree, season depression alone. No one likes boring people. And fair enough, we'll know what the future holds. And she gives the number. And then he texts her. His opener is a picture of his cat. My cat says seasonal depression is fake. I told him to go fuck himself. Oh my God, is that your cat? And he said, lol, no, I'm scared of commitment. I can't be responsible for her life. Again, you don't want to say you're scared of commitment. Like, if this chick is looking for a relationship, you disqualified yourself. And then she doesn't respond, so he says, you, after finding out I don't have a cat. And then it's just a picture of SpongeBob. So I'm glad he finally moved it forward and moved things over to text. I would have done it much, much sooner. Oh my God, is that actually your cat? I would have just probably played around with it. I would have said, why, do you want to see my pussy? With a grin. Why, do you like my pussy? Like, it'd be like a fun little, tongue-in-cheek, whatever, response. But even if he's going to go the more serious route, I would have said, lol, no, comma, just a gif that I thought was perfect for you. Right? Something like that. You don't want to say I hate commitment. So at this point, she stops responding. Now, I do think that if he tries again, he could probably get the conversation started. I think that he could probably re-engage this conversation, and maybe she will even respond at some point. But the big mistake this guy's making is that he's just not leading the conversation. As a man, you have to lead and you have to move things forward. You also don't want to stay one-dimensional and just keep having abstract conversations about a specific topic. You want to alternate banter with some flirting, with some vibing, with some teasing, use the we frame, talk about you two, get into logistics, and move things forward.
All right, thanks, Alex. So what I really like about his texting style, his analysis style, is that he's very specific and context oriented, right? He's looking at the exact text and then saying, you know, I would have said this here and not this. He's not giving just generic advice for, oh, you got to be alpha or this. Like, he's very good at understanding that every conversation has its own particular vibe and context, and he gives his own examples and counter examples of how he would do it and what the guy is doing wrong and what he could do better. He doesn't just teach one particular style of texting or just give you, you know, ideologies. He's very in the dirt, and that's what you need for texting. You need to be very in-person dating. There's more variables because you're in person, but over text, you're a little bit restricted to just, you know, words or pictures. So I like the way that he goes about it, and that he shows the overall vibe that's going on in the conversation, and his eye is always on the ball. And I think that's what a lot of guys miss with texting, is they forget that you can build a connection over texting, and you can, you know, build some good rapport and get a lot of investment from girls. But ultimately, the goal of texting is to use it as a bridge to get to meeting her in person, because that's what we really want. We don't just want to be texting buddies. We want to actually get on a date with her and then eventually sleep with her and possibly get into some sort of relationship with her if that's what we want. So now I'm going to be analyzing some text screenshots that some of his guys sent to him. And so, yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so his opener here it's cute. It's very cocky funny, and it can definitely work with some girls, and she responds really well. And I think that they have some context. Obviously, he has her phone number, so they must have met over a dating app. So time to put your phone down. It must be hot with all this awesomeness that just slid into it. Be safe. So what I really like about this message actually is he does the cocky funny well. He's not putting too many emojis in the beginning. I like emojis, but if you want to play it safe, it's good to go with a little bit, not dry humor, but you're not over investing in your humor. If you're trying to do cocky funny, this is cocky funny done really well. And what I really like is that last little message, be safe. I would get rid of the period though. I don't like periods. So, unless the girl is on them. So, when you are texting your girl first, what you can do is, instead of just the hey, how are you kind of style texting, or asking girls questions, a really good first text especially with a girl that you're already seeing, or, you know, you're kind of just keeping in touch with before the date, or you're still trying to get her on the date, it's really great to just leave a message as, like, it's just like you leave it on her doorstep. Like, it's just a, here, I'm not over asking, I'm not just trying to force conversation, I'm just giving you a message and I'm leaving it as it is, and you can choose to like play with me if you want to. And that last little message, be safe, it's a, hey, hope you're doing well, da-da-da, and you just leave it there. And it's a really good high value style of texting that'll get girls to respond, because your texts aren't communicating that you're really hungry for a conversation, you're not thirsty for it. So, haha, hi cutie, hey you, great response, right? He's not like over excited that she called him cutie. Because sometimes when guys get compliments, and even myself, I've fallen into this trap a lot, where, okay, she likes me, she wants the dick, and then I start to over-invest. He plays it cool. So, hey you. The cockiest text is mine. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, right? So she immediately felt that vibe. Like, imagine if you sent the girl, hey sexy, and she's like, hey you. Now, you like that she's playing with you and she's, you know, reciprocating, but he's still playing it a little bit cooler than her. He's putting just a little bit less investment than hers, because he didn't include the compliment and he didn't get overly excited. And she immediately could recognize that emotional energy that they both have. And so she teases him and says, you know, I have the cockiest text. However, he makes an error. So by saying make me, he kept it going on too long. When she said the cockiest text is mine, it's good that she's giving him shit and trying to like power play with him. But he overdid it. And basically it's kind of like you enjoyed your work too much. Like, it's a weird example, but like when you're sparring and you make like a good hit or something, you get the guy and then you kind of pause and you admire your work, like, oh, that was a good hit. And I've had coaches tell me like, no, you got to keep going. Like there's still more of a fight to go. So by saying make me, it was like he just stopped. He asked for too much investment in return. So she just gave a bunch of investment by kind of trying to challenge him, right? You want the girl challenging you, actually, you not challenging her, because that shows that she wants to kind of overtake you. It's a fun, loving little fight challenge, but you need to play even with her for her to not feel like she's way over investing. So that's why she didn't respond, because he said make me, and he took the cockiness. It was cocky, cocky, cocky. If you want to do cocky, funny well, you need to go like cocky, funny, regular, 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 cocky, funny. It's just like in person. If someone makes one joke, haha, it's funny. But if they just keep telling jokes over and over, it's gonna get a bit stale. What makes a joke funny is where it's placed in the conversation. And so just like, or a song, like the drop needs to be in a certain place. Now he recognizes this because she kind of took the power back by not responding and not playing his game. He probably should have said it in return, cocky, sexist mind, shut the fuck up. I would have like sent a winky face. Just like, okay, fucking twitching over here. It's like, okay, think of it as in person. You make a cocky statement, she comes back and plays, and you just kind of like laughing that, okay, you guys are playing a game, and then you move on. You recognize that you two are flirting with each other, and then you move on. So a winky face, and then, so hey, how are you? Just really simple. Now let's be really sincere. Still low value, don't be over investing, but just go to normal conversation. Then what happens is he waits till, I don't know when he got this text, because it says 8 November here, and then yesterday. So it might have been the next day, possibly, or maybe days after. Hopefully it was just the next day. If he waited until like days later and he still refers to the previous conversation, that's trying way too hard. It's like she knows you are going back and reading your conversation over and over, which everyone does, but you don't want to let them know that you're stalking your old conversations with her and like overthinking what you could have said differently. If anything, I would have sent it that night a few hours later, just to kind of recover. So you can deny it all you want, but we both know that you secretly love it. Don't worry, your secret's safe with me. When you're doing cocky funny, the frame that you're coming from is like, I'm cool. But a lot of times that's a facade. Most of the time, even people who are genuinely cool and funny, when we're interacting with others, we're always not putting on a face, but we're playing the game. Everyone's playing the game to some extent. Sometimes it's insincere and sometimes it's very sincere. The problem here is he was so cool the whole time, and then the moment she wasn't playing his game, his frame completely fell apart. And he sent her a bunch of texts, and he's over playing the game, where now he's like, oh yeah, you really like it, you like it. Don't worry, your secret's safe with me. Oh, and also, I'm sitting here dying waiting for you to text me. So his frame completely shattered. Like his earlier cocky, funny attitude, his frame, the kind of view that he had of himself or was trying to put into her head, it completely now is the opposite. If he wanted to text her again, what he had to do was just move on. Just, okay, you fucked up, you were cool for a little bit, you fucked up. She obviously likes you from her texts. She's playing with you, she's flirting with you, but he should have just completely changed the conversation and just maybe waited a few days and then said, hey, how's your week going? Or hey, hope you're having a great day. And then he would show he has depth. Like he's not just a guy who makes jokes and acts cool and cocky. He's also, just a normal guy and he's being cool. Here, he's trying too hard to make up for his mistake earlier by fixing it. A lot of times when you make mistakes with girls, the best way you're gonna make up for it is by changing her attitude of you later by just moving on. So, he lost the conversation there and she stopped responding. And so, yeah, after that, a girl would be like kind of on the edge of not texting you anymore. Even if you guys are sleeping together, like if only slept together a few times, one of these text exchanges can really ruin it. And if he hasn't slept with her or had a date with her, that second fuck up was so bad, it pretty much might just nuke your chances. Okay, so another one. This is a match on Tinderino. Okay, hi Allison, your facial expression did it for me. Okay, that's cute. That's a really That's a nice way of complimenting a girl. Like, that was the thing that got me. Like, it's really sincere. Hi, his name, lovely nipples. Okay. He must have a shirtless pic, but yours are as cute as mine. That's clever. That's fucking clever. And she gave a little gif in response. You know, you have a few of my weaknesses. I think now he complimented her a little too much, right? He gave her 2 compliments in a row. She gave the gif or the image of like, oh, I'm so hot and so cool. Move on and just say, hey, you know, so where are you from? Or what do you do? Or just normal conversation. What makes a person interesting? Like I said, in a song, it's like you have cool parts and then you have just normal part. You need the normal parts in any seduction or text conversation to make the interesting parts more interesting by comparison. And I hate when girls do this actually. She's kind of treating him like a kid. Well, if you need a little boost in strength, my personality is subpar at best. It's flirty and it's nice, right? So we still got some going here. She put all those L's, you know, tapped it like fucking 7 times. All the T. I do like when girls do that. Like, you know, someone's having fun when they're putting more than one like letter. But the frame of her message is like, well, if you need to feel better about yourself, which can be cute and you're teasing each other, right? You don't want to take every single thing too seriously, like, oh, she doesn't think I'm a fucking alpha. But it's not even a subtle frame of like, oh, you need a little ego boost, let me give it to you. It's not where you want to go. And he recognizes this on a subtle level and an intuitive level. And he says, great because I like to take the lead. He's trying to kind of regain the power. And that period at the end, what the fuck, put a period after an emoji? Like, I just dislike periods in text. I don't know, they just make it way too formal. But he put it after the sunglasses emoji. That's just like aesthetically, like my OCD is fucking popping right now. I think I know what you like. So now he's trying to be cocky and it's too much of a shift. And he could have just had normal conversation, then been cocky later. So he's going too much to extremes. He's over-validating and then being cocky. You can make that kind of bipolar style of seduction work, but it's really hard to pull off. So I think I know what you like. Not sure how that relates to you taking the lead, but I'll go with it. Like, she's calling him out. She's like, all right, that's, you know, we're gonna keep going. I like you. I think you're interesting, but you know, it's it just doesn't make sense. What do I like? And if you're just gonna tell me the things that everyone likes, then don't bother. So again, now she's, even on a subtle level, well, not so subtle, very explicit level, he's the chaser and she's getting chased. Like, he's the one who he's subtly trying to qualify himself, like, I think I know what you like. So he's over-validating her, and then now he's like, I think I know what you like. Now, I'm a guy who's extremely complimentary, right? But what I'll do is I'll give one big boost of validation and interest and passion and romance, because I'm a passionate guy. And I'll be like, oh my God, you're so fucking beautiful. You know, with heart eyes emojis, and girls will be like, oh my God, thank you. And then I'll just go to normal conversation. Like, that big spark, and then cool. But he's going to way too many extremes right after the other. So you and me grabbing wine, cuddles, neck kisses, whisper cute stuff into each other, building chemistry. If we like each other, I'd bring you close to me and only let our lips touch, but not too much. Okay, or the text cuts off. It's still kind of basic, to be completely honest. If you're in person, some lame dude can be like, oh, I'm gonna romance you, and I'm gonna be like, right? And it's gonna come off creepy and weird. But then another guy who's very sexy and he knows how to say it in the right way, he can start telling her what he wants to do with her, and, you know, we can go have a little picnic, have some wine, and he can romance her with his eyes and his voice, and he can make something that sounds basic, right? Because at the end of the day, I mean, there's only so many things you can do with a girl, but it affects her in a different way. Over text, this long block of a message, it's just, I read it and I'm like, well, you pretty much just fell into her trap. You told her something super fucking basic. Building chemistry. Like, you're speaking way too logically. You need to, if you want to speak emotions to a girl, you got to use language in a more artistic way. So that's a rundown of how it usually plays out for you, huh? Oh, yeah, okay, so this is, she can tell he's a fuckboy because he's trying to really press those emotional buttons really hard. And it's another shit test. So she's just shit testing him, and he's getting himself into this. He's causing his own problems by over doing it with the extreme emotions, and she knows that he's trying way too hard, so she's gonna keep testing him. He needs to be way more relaxed and a little bit more subtle, and that's coming from a guy who's super direct. And so she's calling him out for being a player, and what happens when a girl calls you out for being a player? In person, you can kind of play with it, be like, yeah, you know, you're my sixth girl this week, or, you know, you can make it work. But even with those kind of responses in person, like, they can really go sideways. Because even if you're being cheeky, she's still gonna think, okay, well, he's a fuckboy, you confirm my suspicion. Now, that's not always gonna lose you a girl, but actually more often, you know, being a fuckboy is great, but a lot of times it can actually lose you girls. Because girls wanna feel like there's at least something more. Maybe not, you know, you gotta get on your knees and propose this fucking second, but she's gotta know there's at least a little bit of room for something more, unless you absolutely see her as only as a one night slam kind of thing. So he tries to play the cocky funny, like, yeah, I'm a player. If you wanna go that route, the indeed with the devil emoji, I would have said something a little bit more like brisk, like sometimes, or yep, and just boom, lay it out there, and then ask, and then just leave it. And so she plays, she has to respond to that little, because if you just give a little investment, you're just like, yep, and you're holding it, right? And then she's like, oh, okay, he kind of fell for it, but he didn't fall for it. He's kind of keeping, you know, his frame strong, and then she might buy in and text after. If she responds to that text and tries to continue conversation, you got it. But it also has a high chance of just ending the conversation right there. So I think he makes a mistake with the emoji. He could have just said indeed, right? With nothing else. That would have been an okay text. But indeed with the devil emoji, I don't like it. And then he's you into wine. I think he's saying that because, oh yeah, the last text, where he says, you and me grabbing wine. He's trying to set it up, but I think I mean, let's assume he didn't fix it, and with the advice that I gave, I would just, no, because if you ask for logistics and you just try to, you could just go for the date right away and be like, indeed, when are you free? It could work, but I think you need to wait a few more texts, because you got to get past this little hump. This hump of shit that she's trying to give you with the shit test. Yep, she calls him out. I like experiences a little bit less predictable. So she said in the last text, don't give me something predictable, and you totally just gave her something fucking predictable. I'm creative. It's just, no, it's not, you know, I'm creative. Let's share a bottle of wine. Drop your number for future romantic arrangements. Yeah, that's just, this is amateur fuckboy. He's trying to be a fuckboy, but I'm gonna guess he's not actually, I'm guessing that he's kind of faking it, and she can feel it. Because he's not playing around the emotions properly. He's not reading them like I kind of just laid out, or how Alex was laying out. Like, he understands like where you're going with the emotions, and sometimes you stop and move sideways, and it's got to be a dance. But this guy just knows one gear, and it's flirt. And so, yeah, he totally failed here. And then he tries to, you know, keep the cocky. I can understand if you're a little bit shy, and she's like, I'm not shy. At least she's responding, but it's like 99.5% fucking done here. Then he goes for logistics. I think he should have went for logistics a little bit earlier. Yeah, but it probably wouldn't have worked anyways. Yep, so that's dead. Okay, here's another one. He's texting her, hey Trouble, hey Mr. King. I gotta admit, I think you have one of my weaknesses. Okay, he's just using the same lens over and over. It's the same guy. And what would that be? Good morning. You look innocent, but got a wild side. Spot on. Oh Lord, have mercy on me. He should have just had a normal conversation after that. After she said spot on, just have normal conversation. I hope you like wine as much as I like rum. We can get 2 bottles and have a romantic date on my balcony. I like rum as well, even better. I finished work at 9. My WhatsApp is this. Shoot me a message to organize the romantic date. Oh, you're shy. Hey, yes, I'm sorry. I am shy. Sorry for not answering. I was at work. I just came back myself. They let me go early because of the lockdown. Useless information. We can go for groceries before we drink something if that makes you feel more comfortable. Too little, too late. After she said I like rum as well, him sending his message and then getting her to text him first, it can work. It'd be really good to have a girl message you because she knows that it's a high sign of interest. The problem here is that he's going for dates too fast. If you want to go for dates fast, how I do it is I give the compliment. She says, oh, thank you. And then I immediately just ask for the date. This works a lot. Hey, Alexandria, you're fucking gorgeous. Oh my God, thank you so much. Look, I would love to grab a coffee with you sometime this week. When are you free? Him saying I finished work at 9, it's useless information because you're usually not gonna get a girl out on a date this night unless you have a conversation and ask for logistics and she mentions that she's free tonight. trying to ask a girl for a date the same night you're texting her, or trying to get specific days like, hey, are you free Friday? A lot of times it really doesn't work because she might have something in the way. And unless she really likes you, she's not gonna move. I mean, you would think, oh, she likes you so much, she's gonna move her life around for me. But look, you're just some random guy on Tinder. So if you're gonna ask girls for their logistics, ask for when they're free, their schedule. And getting her to try and text you first is not gonna work when she hasn't given you enough investment. So he needed to have more conversation here, or just give a compliment and then immediately say, I'd love to get a coffee with you. I'd love to get a drink with you. Grabbing a bottle of rum and hanging out with her, getting that on the first date, especially over text, it can work if she really likes you, but it's a bit risky. More consistently, in my experience, is going for a coffee or going for a drink. Getting a drink with her, like that, to get her to agree to that, she has to be super high interest. Or you have to have a long conversation and she has to kind of feel more comfortable with you. So yeah, this guy he's an amateur fuckboy, and he doesn't know how to play the game yet. He knows a few lines to use. And they can work if there's the right energy behind him and he has to practice some more, but he needs to learn when to chill out and have a normal conversation, and then he needs to learn how to properly ask for logistics and when in the conversation to do it and feel the vibe out. So those are a few texts to kind of go over my style and how I prefer to go about building conversation and building a connection and then setting up the date. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed Alex's analysis. If you want to have more of his content, I'll put a link in the description below for you to go to his channel and go give a like, go give a subscription, go ring his bell and check out his content. And then as always, this is Hector Castillo, Poppy from girlschase.com. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, and we'll see you guys very soon. Ciao.